Good evening. Oh, let me stop. Good evening, pugilist fanatics. It's Myron Magnus in another segment of Boxing Logics United with a sub-segment of that I'm just now starting called The Mind of a Fighter. Pure pugilism at its rawest. The rematch has been set. Alexander Povetkin versus Dillian Whyte, November 21st. At venues, we're not sure yet. I heard Eddie Hearn say O2, and I think some hall over there in the UK. Whichever will be fine. But I'm not here to talk about venues. I'm not here to talk about any of the extracurricular things going on around this fight. I'm here to talk about the mind of the fighters themselves, particularly Mr. Dillian Whyte. I watched an interview with Mr. Kevin Barry and a couple of other people, and they feel Dillian Whyte is going into the rematch too soon. Like Mr. Dillian Whyte is making a bad mistake by taking his rematch on November 21st. Like, he may need a tune-up or something. Like, the left uppercut going to have lingering effects leading up to the next fight. And I particularly see where they're coming from. I can understand that to some degree. Okay? But then, at the same time, I think Dillian Whyte is going to be okay going into the rematch. You know, every fighter is different. Every fighter is different in either two ways. Either they have a dog in them, in reverse, God, or they have no dog in them. And that means no God. Because if you say dog in reverse, that's the word God, ain't it? You're absolutely right. This wasn't a match, the first fight between Alexander Povetkin and Dillian Whyte, where Dillian Whyte was bludgeoned to a pulp, where he was mollywopped, where he got his ass kicked, my apologies, from round 1 to round 5. This is actually the opposite. Dillian Whyte was well in control of this fight. Took very little damage, took very little punches, which count as mental scars. Okay? He took one punch. One punch that counted. And he was counted out. Now, if this was a fight, again, that Dillian Whyte was battered from post to post, I could understand what many would feel, or how many feel about this fight rematch coming about too soon. But this wasn't the case in the first fight. Dillian Whyte dropped Alexander Povetkin twice in the previous round, which was the fourth. And Dillian Whyte, or should I say, my apologies, Alexander Povetkin came back in round 5 with a great adjustment. And what was that adjustment? It sounds like to me somebody in Alexander Povetkin's corner said, yo, you've already thrown a left hook to the body, left hook to the head. Now disguise, or should I say make it look like you throwing a left hook to the body and just bring it up. And you know what? It seems to me If those were the instructions from his corner, that's exactly what Alexander Povetkin did, and it scored perhaps the best knockout of his career thus far at this time of his career. You feel me? If Dillian Whyte was beaten from post to post, I would feel the way you guys feel. But that wasn't the case. Let me reiterate. Okay? Sometimes waiting too long for a fight plays the psychological effect on a fighter. Okay? Why? Because then nervousness can set in. Doubts can set in. Under the circumstances, if he was beaten badly during most of the fight. But not in this case. Dillian Whyte can wipe this off with a clean slate, say, I got caught with a good one. Let's get back to it. Seriously. It all depends on the fighter. Some fighters got a guard in them, a soul controller, and some fighters don't. Now, it's not like Dillian Whyte got a guard in him or a dog. You know what I mean? He's like, I got caught with a good shot, but I was beating his ass up till that time happened. I got relaxed. I got lazy. I fell out of focus. And it sounds like pretty much that's all it was to me. And under those circumstances, he can come back and do a quick turnaround for this fight. Because those were the circumstances. Again, if it was the alternative, where he got beaten, then maybe where he really took psychological damage, then maybe he may need to wait some time, get a tune-up and all that. But that's not the case here. Okay? Again, sometimes time can be your worst enemy. Sometimes time to ponder, think, and worry about all that shit can be your worst enemy. And then sometimes you need just to get back in it and not allow any of that to set in. So in this case, I think Dillian Whyte is all right. Now, we have to see what the next fight turns out to be. I'm not setting no predictions right now. But if you feel that Dillian Whyte made a mistake by taking this fight too soon, I think you need to fully look at the circumstances, okay, or the fight of this entirety, how it played out in its totality, okay, and really think about it again. Dillian Whyte had much positive things to take from the first fight because he was outright winning the first fight. Now, Alexander Povetkin can say, well, I knock you out once, I knock you out again. But how many more tricks out the bag can Alexander Povetkin pull out the hat? Or the bag, I should say. He may have a few more. He's a wily veteran that's been around the sport for quite some time. But again, people are going to remember he got dropped 4 times in the 4th round. And again, people are going to understand, or hopefully use their logical thinking, and realize that Dillian Whyte perhaps is going to come into this rematch understanding, or under the understanding, that his career is on the line. And spark this motherfucker out really, really, really quick. We don't know what's going to happen because it hasn't happened yet. All I can say is I'll be giving the blow by blow. And this is Myra Magnus. And you listen to another segment of Boxing Logics United, a.k.a. Pure Pugilism, a.k.a. or should I say, peace in pugilism. One love, I'm out.